And we're live.
Yeah.
Jay and I were just sitting here, just chatting away, and we're like, "Oh, it's 3:33. I think it's time to go
Oh
live."
wait, let's add people to this chat because we're just sitting here
Yes,
drinking tea, talking. We're like, oh wait, other
yeah.
people.
I see
Yeah.
Tara popped in, and
Hi Tara.
Lori popped in, and then I thought,
Hello.
"Oh my goodness, I think we're supposed to be live." So
Yeah.
hi everybody. Let me turn my
Hello.
phone down. Let me turn it down real quick.
Okay.
Make
Turn it
sure
on
that we have
safe.
no interruptions. All right. So, welcome everyone. It's another exciting episode of Tea Talk with Gina and MJ.
Yay! Welcome, welcome. So
We
excited
were
to be
just
here
kind of
again.
chit chatting behind the scenes about
Did
some
you turn my fan off?
possibilities, and you'll find out about those at some point.
Yes, we got some things in the works and some nice things in the works and connections. I'm so excited.
Yep,
Um,
yep, yep, yep,
I
yep.
just want to say that this gathering of these two amazing women here, and I'm going to talk in myself in third person, has been amazing. And so it feels like it's second nature. Like there's no, it's not even a hardship. This is so much fun.
Hmm.
And then just chatting with her is like, oh, we have other people to talk to. Oh, hi, welcome. So I really do love the vibe of this. It's very beautiful.
Yep, yep. Thank you so much because when I first reached out to you, it just seemed really natural, and I told you what I had in mind, and I looked at what you've done before, and when we discussed it was like, okay, bam, 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 15 minutes, we were done, and we had the thing all planned. I say, okay, when do we start? How about next week? Yeah, so it was that quick, and I know you guys are enjoying it because we're getting some amazing feedback. So thank
Thank you
you.
for the comments. Thank you
Yes,
guys.
yes, yes.
Thank you for helping us. We appreciate the support. I want to tell you, I believe we need to support each other, and this is the best way. So thank you. We are honored that you are here with us for this amazing tea talk.
Yeah. And one MJ just let me know that next week we're going to have a special tea blend, and we are going to actually work on bringing the maker on the live stream with us.
She
So because
doesn't know that yet, but Cheryl will be
right,
on
she
the
doesn't
lookout.
know, but I guess after today she'd probably go, "Ooh." But yeah, the thing is, if you have a certain skill, if you guys make teas and you'd love to share them with, you let everybody else know, we would love for you to send us some, or just or tell us what's in it, and then we can put it
Exactly.
together with what we have.
Exactly.
So let us know, and then if you're open to coming on the show, even better. I know it
Let us
says
know where
Tea
you're
Talk
from.
with Gina and MJ, but hey, you can be guests on the show. It's not all about us. We're here to
We like
share
us.
what other people's talents as well. So if you make teas, let us know. We'd love to have your tea showcased, have you on here. Yeah. So just let us know. Hello, ladies. Tara, who Cheryl just came on. All right.
Hey Cheryl, we're
So
just talking about you, Cheryl. All right. We're talking about teas and Cheryl and all these wonderful things and everyone that makes tea. So be prepared to come live with your tea and talk tea talk. I'll
yeah.
get you on the DM.
Right, Cheryl, be warned. Don't be scared, but just yeah,
We're coming for you.
we're excited. We're excited. All right, so for those of you who I'm sure everybody here knows, but for those of you who are going to watch the replay and you don't say, okay, here are these two ladies on here. They're talking tea. Who are they? Quick introduction again. My name is Gina. I play with herbs. Let's just put it that way. I play with herbs and spices in a lot of interesting ways, including teas. Um, I do a lot of other things as well, ranging from crystal Reiki, sound therapy, art therapy. I'm a doctoral student in hypnotherapy as well. So that's just a little bit of about me. MJ?
Hi, I'm MJ. And I like to play a little bit with magic. Little bit with magic. That is my overall. I am like for those who know, I am a Reiki master teacher. I am a past life regressionist, which I love. QHHC level 3 up. It's one of my jams. It's something I enjoy with my whole heart. I like breaking myths and throwing away the fear of everyone should have an amazing session and find out where you've been, what you need to know, and what you need to heal in this lifetime. I also am a medium, so I do card readings. I connect with spirit in all sense of the way. I'm just, I just, like I said, I like to play with magic just a little bit, but
A
I
little
love
bit.
it a lot.
All right. So the tea that we're going to be sharing with you today is called Breathe with Ease tea. And this is actually one of my personal creations. I think that I made this, I want to say about ooh, at least 10 years ago. I don't remember exactly, but it's been, I want to say about 10 years. And the reason why this came into being is because I was diagnosed with emphysema. Initially, I was diagnosed with asthma, and then um, I went into my doctor's office and I had a really bad case of not being able to breathe. Let's just say that. And they rushed me to have some x-rays done of my lungs, and they brought me back into the doctor's office, and he sat me down and he said, who diagnosed you with emphysema, with asthma? I said, well, a previous doctor. He said, well, I think you were misdiagnosed because you don't have asthma. What we're seeing in your lungs is emphysema. And the next question he asked was, um, he said, I know that you don't smoke. I've never smoked a day in my life. But he said, the next question he asked me kind of intrigued me because I never thought about it until then. He said, when were you ever tubed? And I thought to myself, I had to really think about this because um, I never thought about it until he asked me, because I never put the connection together that my inability to breathe properly stemmed from a surgery where I had my very first near-death experience,
Wow.
where my heart stopped, my lungs collapsed, and I was put on a ventilator. So that was what he meant by "were you ever tubed?" But I was sitting there thinking, tubed? What do you mean tubed? Because I'd never heard it referred to that before that moment. Then when I explained to him what happened, he said, well, that was the moment when I developed emphysema, because with my lungs collapsing and then the rush to try to get my lungs working again, meanwhile they're trying to get my heart restarted at the same time, all of that basically kind of put me into a state of my lungs being a mess. So I was put on a bunch of pharmaceuticals after that, but over time I did a lot of research. I think a couple years later, I became an herbalist. So during that time, I was doing a lot of research into herbs that would help with my lungs. And this was the blend that came about. So by working with this blend, I managed to get completely off of all of the pharmaceutical meds. I'm not suggesting that you do that. Okay. And before we even go any further, if you're taking any kind of medications, pharmaceutical meds, do not start any kind of herbal therapy without talking to your doctor, please. Make sure that they are aware of what you are taking if you want to try anything natural. All right. Just a caveat out there, because just because it's natural doesn't mean that it won't interfere with your pharmaceutical meds. All right. And I'm fully aware that there are people who watch this show who take pharmaceutical meds. I'm 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 just a natural person. I prefer to do the natural stuff, even though I've gone from being on about 15. I think I was on about 15 medications, pharmaceutical meds at one time. So Breathe with Ease was the tea blend that came about because of my diagnosis with emphysema. It's been at least 10 years. I don't even remember. And my near death experience and all of that stuff. So that's just a little behind this, behind the scenes story as far as this particular tea blend is concerned. All right, so I do create a lot of tea blends. So this one is, like I said, my personal one. The original blend has sage, hyssop, rose hips, elderberry, licorice root, and fennel. And then after a while, I added in mullein and thyme as well. So my new blend has all of those in it. So the ones that you're going to hear us talk about are those, but at the end, I'm going to give you a few things that you can also add in if you choose to, or if you want to try to create your own version of this. I'm also going to give you an essential oil version of this Breathe with Ease, because I also work in essential oils and I like to have the essential oil version I did create that so that I could rub all over my chest and inhale that way. So I'm going to give you a couple different alternatives. Okay. So we're going to start off with sage. And before we go in, I'm going to have MJ smudge a little bit for us using sage because so many people sage I think gets a bad rap. Or the whole idea of smudging gets a bad rap. So we're going to start off with some smudging right now, and then we'll go in and talk a little bit more about sage in a tea form.
Hold on, we're shutting down the fan. I got one of those powerhouse fans that blows everything out, and you
Yeah.
touch it, and it's like, okay, lighter one gone. Let's do lighter two. Oh wow, sage don't want to be lit today. Lighter two in the garbage. Are we doing this light? Ah, here we go.
And Cheryl, yes, I will repeat the ingredients shortly.
So let's sage, let's burn away what no longer serves us. Let's burn away all our frustrations. Let's clear our mind. Let's ground ourselves. Let's release anything that doesn't serve us at this moment, because that's what sage does. It is such a medicinal plant in all senses of the word. So let us sage. Take a moment, breathe it in, release what you don't need. Here it is. This beautiful tiny plant is a miracle worker right here. So enjoy that. Here's some sage for you guys. All right, go for it. Tell us what
And one
we're
of the
using.
things a lot of people don't realize is there is scientific proof behind the use of sage with smudging. So you can just go down that rabbit hole yourself and do a little bit of research as far as scientific research backing the use of sage for smudging and clearing negative energy and how it's good for your lungs and all of that stuff. Okay, so
Yeah. And before you say that, before you go on, I'd like to say, and when we say smudging, because we're talking about a culture thing, it's a cultural thing. The smudging is based on a certain culture. So I use plant medicine because it opens it up, because it is part of many plants, but it is plant medicine, okay? Because the name smudging tends to be more a cultural thing to one person, whereas when we say, I'm going to plant sage, I'm going to plant smudge, I'm going to use plant medicine, and that way I clear off the playing field for everyone. It is, we all should use it. I believe this plant was put on this universe for us to use. And I say universe because this is, just because it's here doesn't mean it's not used other places. This is a
right.
very, very medicinal plant. So, and I believe in it. It's amazing. This is a big one. They got smaller ones too, but, and please don't go out and run out there and be picking all the sage. It is illegal to pick sage in your country, in your state. So please be careful when you're going out there and you're looking. Please have consideration. There are beautiful people that harness this organically. Support them.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. All right, so Cheryl asked me to repeat the ingredients. They are sage, hyssop, rose hips, elderberry, licorice root, fennel, mullein, and thyme. And I can add a list in the description box under the video, so you guys can have that as well. Okay. So sage, the medicinal portion of sage. Sage is considered to be an expectorant. So what it does, it helps to, if you have any kind of excess mucus in your lungs, it actually helps to expel. When you're coughing and you drink a little bit of sage tea, it helps to break up that mucus and help to get it out of your lungs. So when you're coughing, it comes up. Right? So it's really good for any kind of for the respiratory tract. It's used a lot in Ayurvedic medicine. And Ayurveda, if you're not familiar with that, is a 5,000-year-old medicine, a field of medicine. I don't know if any other way that I could put it. And it's considered to be the oldest medical book on the planet is Ayurvedic medicine. So you can also do a little bit of research on that. I studied Ayurveda many years ago when I was first diagnosed and enough things, and Ayurveda having a glitch here. So Ayurveda, in combination with a few other therapies, including art and sound and crystal Reiki, among a few other things, really helped to heal my body from lupus and autoimmunity. Right. So sage was has been used a lot in Ayurvedic medicine. It was used traditionally um, in a lot of different cultures throughout the world for treating things like coughing, things like asthma, inflammation in your throat and in your mouth, because it's a very, very powerful anti-inflammatory. And when it's burned, when it's burned in the room, I don't know about you, but I noticed that I immediately take a deep breath and my lungs are cleared. And I didn't really get into burning sage until I think about 4 years ago because I was drinking sage tea. But when I noticed that when I start to burn it, my lungs immediately want to open up, and I just take a deep breath. And yeah, it's kind of hard to explain, but if you've ever experienced that when you burn the sage, and oh, it's the best feeling in the world when you can really open up your lungs. And the thing is with me, when I was first diagnosed with emphysema, it wasn't just emphysema, it was also costochondritis. And costochondritis is inflammation in the rib cage. So when you're trying to breathe and trying to get your lungs to open, and your rib cage is inflamed, and your lungs are filled with mucus, it's a double
Ouch.
whammy, right? So this blend was a miracle worker for me. And sage is the top ingredient in this particular blend. So it also helps with depression. And I think that's one of the things I notice as well is it really does lift my spirits whenever I burn the sage. And I do just exactly what MJ just did with that one little leaf. I don't burn the whole stick. I just pluck off a leaf and you light it, and that does
You
the trick.
waste it. You waste it. This can last you
Right.
so long. You don't need to. That's.
Yes.
I love when I go on to. I see these people burning the whole thing, and and I'm like, oh my god, you're wasting it. This little
Yes. You
look.
just need a leaf.
Look, I want to show you what I. These are little tiny pieces, and all I do is take the pieces out because that's
Mhm.
how tiny of it you need. That's the smallest. You need the
Exactly.
smallest amount, and it does the biggest thing. You don't need to burn the whole thing. Put it on fire. I see that. I'm like, God, you're wasting this pure, beautiful plant.
Now, the one thing with sage is that it helps to control blood sugar as well. So if you're diabetic and you're on any kind of diabetic medication, you want to be very careful working with sage in your tea because you can get a double whammy. You don't want your blood sugar to drop too low. So be very careful when you're working with the sage. And if you're menopausal, sage is very good for that. I know we're talking about the breathe with ease, but these are just some additional benefits of sage. So sage is very good for women who are going through that particular stage of life.
That's amazing.
So let's take a listen to the spiritual aspects of sage.
Oh, here we go. Wow. Gina, I just need to say, I see you. You went through many conditions and look at you, looking natural elements to cure all of that. I totally see you. I'm on that path. I believe, and I believe, thank you. Thank you for leading and being an example to us to show us, like, wow, it'll take time, but you can do it. So thank you for that. I appreciate it so much. All right, so let's talk sage. Magic! All right, let's talk about sage. Did you know that the plant sage is connected with the moon and Jupiter? All right, the element is air, obvious. Okay, it is connected with the zodiac signs Cancer, Scorpio, and Sagittarius. And doesn't mean I believe. When I read that, I kind of went like, I think it's connected with all of us. I believe it is connected with each one of us. This little plant is for emotional, it's for stress, it's for releasing energy, it's negativity. Say you have a bad spirit in your house, you light some sage, call in Archangel Michael, bye, he's gone. That's how simple as it is. This is power in this one plant. This is a holy plant. This power in this one plant to heal, not only heal, but take away the negativity, not negativity from others, but negativity from yourself. Say you're talking, I hate myself, I'm fat, oh my God, this has happened, oh my God. One good every day, all smudge your whole aura, clears away. And then what about the people that look at you on the street? Oh, she thinks she cute. Oh, look at her. Why is she wearing that wig for? Who she thinks she is? Oh, look at her with that guy. You people throw so many things. A little sage every day, in the morning, in the afternoon, at night, clears away the energies that not necessary. So this has so many benefits. For me, sage is a miracle worker. So that is my spiel on sage and for sage. Oh my God, it didn't take you out. I have to get up for a minute, guys. I'm going off camera on this one because I thought I had you out, but I put you for me. For me, because sage is such a plant and it's so grounding. For me, it is petrified wood. If we're going to give it a crystal, we're going to give it. It's powerful. It's grounding. It's Mama Gaia energy right here. It is connection. So I give this beautiful plant petrified wood as a crystal for it. And look at the combination. It's magical. So that's what I got for sage.
And if you're just joining us, know that here's what we do. I speak about the medicinal aspect of the herbs, and then MJ throws in the spiritual aspect, and she also connects each herb with a particular crystal. That's your bonus right there. Because I didn't, when MJ and I initially spoke, it was going to be the medicinal aspects and the spiritual aspects. And then when she started with the crystals, that pulled in so much more for me. And I'm hoping that you're enjoying that part of it as well, because that part has been an eye opener. All right. So
also, before I want you to say, just in case you can't burn, everyone who can't burn, they have essential oils. Like Gina said, this is actual sage. Today I had a Reiki session on the beach and I couldn't stage because the wind was so bad. This is it right here. Here's sage in a bottle, magic in a bottle, guys. I just wanted to say that. So because it has multi-purpose. I can't burn. I don't like smoke. It's just, you know what? There's no excuse. It's right here. Okay. Thanks, Gina.
So the next ingredient is mullein. I'm just going to quote according to how I have them written down in the book. So mullein is spelled Mullein. And there are several nicknames to this particular herb. One of them, and MJ and I were joking about it before we came online, because both of us learned a few things about this one plant, and I've been working with this for quite a while. So mullein, a couple of nicknames for it are Yerba del Lobo. And another one is the velvet plant, and another one is miner's candlestick. And if you ever see mullein in bloom, it's got these gorgeous green leaves, but the bloom goes up and it looks almost like waxy taper candles that are yellow and dripping with wax. So that's where it gets the name miner's candlestick. It literally looks like a candelabra that are just sitting on top of the plant, but it's gorgeous, really, really pretty. It is really good for lung inflammation, and that's one of the reasons why I have this particular one in here, because of it helps to just. I mentioned that some inflammation is good for you, but when it's an overabundance of inflammation, that's when it gets really bad. So the mullein helped to reduce the inflammation in my lungs, and that's why it's in here. So I was joking with MJ before we came on, and I said the crystal that jumped out from me was lithium quartz, and I think it's because the lithium quartz almost has that waxy feel, very much along the lines of how the mullein looks. But for MJ, it was something completely different, and she also filled me in on some spiritual uses that I think.
Okay. So for me, mullein is a female energy. It is connected. It's a fire element. It is fire. When I tell you it's fire, it's deep fire. This is associated with the planet Saturn. Does that say enough? Okay. So when searching about mullein is used for exorcisms to remove the spirit from them. They take mullein and they literally put it in all around the person when they're about to, try to exhume the spirit that doesn't belong in there. So imagine, what are you exhuming from your life with this one? It's a protected tea. It's a very protected herb. Okay. This is herb they use it in a lot of witchcraft. They use mullein, and mullein is that dark candle dressing under the dark moon. Let's light it up. Mullein is also so that Tara, I love you. So mullein is used a lot on candle dressings when you want to send off hexes, when you want to send a curse, when you want to hex somebody, you're using mullein to put it out there. So it's a very where it has its medicinal purpose in the spiritual world, it is really a deep, deep, deep. You know, you want to call that in when you want to take out the big boys and play. Oh, we're going to the underworld. I'm gonna light some mullein. Let's do this.
Mhm.
That's what that type of that's the herb that is. But on the other hand, it is such a protective. It's also protection. All right, you want
Mhm.
to clear a space, you light some mullein up there. It's divination for love too. You know, you can use love in a tea with another ingredients that rose hip, and you have guess what? Love, love, love. So I want you
Mhm.
to know, see how it has that darkness? It gives you that bother, like, rah, I'm gonna bite you, but then it says, wait, let me show you my sweetness. Okay. And it's got
Mhm.
that royalty. So for me, and it had that flare and waxing. When I saw it, for me, it was lapis. Lapis is royal, but lapis is a real deep, dark, with deep magic. And just so you know, Mullen, back in the day, they used to put it in they, when they would bury the people, they would put mullein in there so they can travel to the underworld with the mullein, use the mullein
Oh,
and the
okay.
smell of mullein. So I want you to know how amazing that is. So yeah, it's very powerful. When I started reading all that, I was like, "Whoa, this is a herb," and I was like, "I got this one." Yeah.
See, Tara says, I love this class. Tara, I am one of the hosts of it, and I love this class.
I love it
Learning
too,
so
Jack.
much.
I think we're having more fun just finding out the information and coming on live and saying,
Exactly.
"You don't
You
know
know,
what I got
because
here."
for me, I've been working with this stuff for years, but I've never really looked at the spiritual aspects of it. I know the medicinal benefits, and I put them together for that. But then, by us going through Soul Shift, and I learned so much about some of the herbs that we worked with then, I thought, oh yeah, this would be really interesting. Yep, I learned a lot about mullein today.
Don't be scared. But we're not here to scare you. If
No,
anything, all
no.
magic, I'm going to tell you, if magic is done correctly in a protected space and a corrected and protected container, magic is done well. Magic is not dark, it's not light, it's just magic if used correctly. Okay, guys?
Exactly.
I believe in
Yeah.
that.
Because on that note, the next ingredient is hyssop. And hyssop, if you've ever read the Bible, hyssop has been mentioned in the Bible quite a few times. And there's several songs that I've grown up singing that had about hyssop. When you drink hyssop, it's supposed to wash you clean and that sort of thing. So I did a little bit of research on hyssop, and that's one of the ingredients in this particular tea blend as well. And you can do your research in the Bible, and you'll find where hyssop has been mentioned and for what reasons it's been mentioned in there. So hyssop is actually really good for relaxation. um, I work with hyssop in various forms. I work with it in an oil form, and I've done um, herbal infusions of the hyssop plant. But in this particular tea blend, it's there in the plant form. It's really good for relaxation. It's really good for your skin. So if you have any kind of skin abrasions, it's really good for healing that. And you can see why biblically hyssop was really good then, because if you were um, someone who had maybe leprosy or some kind of condition like that back in biblical times, you can see why hyssop was used a lot for those kind of conditions, right? Um, Hyssop was also used for asthma. It's really good for things like indigestion. If you have a sore throat, you can gargle some hyssop tea, and it helps with that. Hyssop is burn hyssop for meditation. Really good for that. It's really good for congestion. If you have any kind of UTIs, you can drink some hyssop tea, and it helps to almost like a natural antibiotic, but it's not going to wipe out your gut flora. So this is one of those natural antibiotics that are going to be good for you. It's going to help you without destroying your gut, right? And it's also really good for muscle pain. So this is one of those really, really powerful herbs. And when I was doing research on hyssop and a few other blends that I found in the Bible itself, I understood why these certain blends were only recommended to be worked with by people who were considered to be close to God, because they're very, very powerful herbs. And like MJ said, you don't be scared about working with these. They're strong, they're powerful, but if you respect their energy, you respect the power behind these herbs, these spices that we put together, you'll be fine. It's when there's no respect for plant medicine, I think, is where the trouble begins. So hyssop is a very powerful one. It is in this blend, and I love hyssop. It has a very medicinal and don't get me wrong, when I drink hyssop on its own, it reminds me of walking into a hospital. It's that kind of a smell. But when you blend it with things like sage and licorice root, it takes on a whole other flavor. So don't be afraid of working with hyssop simply because it sounds like medicinal, right? Because when the blend comes together, and I'm drinking it right now with absolutely no sweetener because rose hips is in here and it's a natural sweetener. So I have no sugar, no honey, nothing in there. But the flavor, I love it. I absolutely love it. So that is hyssop. Back to you, MJ.
Okay, so hyssop for me was very interesting. I was reading up on it and I was like, wow. So when I got to it, I found that it wakens the heart. They would burn it when people wanted to fall in love with each other. It also it brings acceptance and tolerance and balance. It purifies and protects. When I tell you they would use it to unhex people. They would use it to uncurse people. They would use it to uncross people. They would take it and put it around the people to take them out of a curse or out of a hearse. So it's a very good, it's like a remover. And what do you do when you remove something? You get rid of it. And that's what hyssop does. I mean, not only would they put it in the wounds back in the day, like, all right, in the Bible, it talks about that. Even if, as Jesus walked, Mary Magdalene used it with him. I want you to know that I found documented of that. And I was like, once he said it, I was like, oh my God, wow, how amazing. But for me, when I looked at it, it removes that depression state and that whole negativity state from your mind. So in magic, hyssop for me is shungite. This is shungite because shungite clears energy. And that's what hyssop technically does, is to purify. It's going to purify your body, mind, and spirit just by drinking one tea and bring in love. And back in the days, they would put hyssop in the brooms and they would literally put the urban brooms and they would sweep the house from the back to the front with it to release the energy under the moon every month. They would release the energies with hyssop, and it was said to take out all the negativity from the home. So look at that one herb and the amazingness of that. And that's what I got. And for me, so like I said, it is shungite for me because shungite is the powerhouse. It is the clearer. With
Yes.
shungite, you could literally put your tea on it and it'll eliminate any bad energies from the tea. You could put your water on it and your water will start bubbling. You will see it
Hmm.
in the water. That's
Hmm.
how amazing and strong and powerful this. So this is shungite. It is out there. Be careful. Shungite is not plastic. If you feel it plastically, it is not shungite. All right.
Right.
Plastic has a little, you can hear it. You can hear it. Yeah. All right. More like glassy. So if you get a plastic one and they're telling you it's plasticky, that's not shungite. Shungite has a good feeling. Okay. So this is what I have for you today for Hippus is shungite.
Yep. One thing on the shungite, I have a palm stone, and what MJ mentioned about the water, I actually put the shungite inside my water, and it purifies the water. So if you're looking for
Absolutely.
something not just to add the energy, but to remove negative energy and purify your water at the same time, get yourself a nice shungite palm stone. Drop that baby in there. I'm telling you,
And then,
it's yeah.
and I'll add on that under the full moon, take that same shungite water, put it outside, and charge it under the full moon. Woo, baby! Talk about power. There
Yes.
you go.
Yep. All right. Are we like mind blown yet? I'm learning. Okay, just so you know, when I come on here, I have no idea what MJ is gonna say. She just knows the ingredients of the tea. She doesn't know what I'm gonna say, but she does her own research, and then I come on and I learn so much from her as well. So just so you're
Thank you.
aware, this is not anything that's pre discussed. The only thing we pre-discuss is the ingredients of each tea blend. That's it.
Right.
All right. So let me go to the chat. Says I love Tara says I love this class. Cheryl goes woo. Cheryl again. I'm learning so much. She says sounds like I need to get some of this ASAP. Can it be grown in Florida? I do believe it can because I know someone who's growing it right here in Florida. I'm in Florida. So I'm pretty sure that it can be grown in Florida. But if you can't grow it here, there are lots of reputable places where you can purchase the dried and maybe even see if you can get the seeds and try to grow it in a pot inside. I mean, there are ways around it, right? All right. So the next ingredient is rose hips.
Yeah.
And rose, yes. And I mentioned rose hips as being that's the natural sweetener in here, but what it provides is just loads and loads and loads of vitamin C. And rose hips are basically the fruit, I want to say fruit that's left over once the rose kind of falls apart. That's the rose hip. That's what we were talking about. And it really does boost your immune system. You make some rose hip tea and just drink that, or really kick it up a notch, add some elderberries to that. Lots of vitamin C, with everything that is going on right now. You drink your rose hip and elderberry on a regular basis. Yes. Now do all of the other things too. Wash your hands properly, and but boost your immune system using these natural things. And rose hips is loaded with vitamin C. It also is really good for reducing inflammation. So that's another reason why rose hips is in here. It works on my immune system, plus it also helps to reduce the inflammation in the lungs and everywhere else. But this is predominantly a lung blend. So, MJ?
So for me, for rose hip, when I started looking at it, it was rose. I kept finding rose, and I'm like, no, this is it. And then finally, I got down to the rose hip. So when I came to find out that this is also it's a very feminine energy, it's connected with the planet Venus, and it's a water sign. So it's that watery love, that wishy-washy love. It makes you relax. It brings calmness. It brings peace. All right. It brings harmony. So when I was looking, what crystal would go with me with that? So what I found that worked for me was lepidolite.
Mm,
Lepidolite is the perfect crystal to match rose hip. It's that calm. It's that peace. It's that when I put lepidolite on, it's that finding that harmony within oneself. And that's what this is for me. And back in the day, what they used to do, prepare the brides, they would make a ritual bath of rose hip, and the bride to be would sit in it with candles, and they would link the rose hip on the candles and in the bath water, so they would feel the honor of the peace and love that they were about to be given at their wedding. It was the most American. When I saw that, I was like, wow, that is, we do that now. That's like a salt bath. But imagine just that's what's calling love. So, guys, Valentine's next month. You want to call in love? Get yourself some rose hips, some lepidolite, some rose quartz, and let's light some candles. All pink.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Cheryl says, I always take so many notes, learn so much. I'm glad that this is helpful because that's the idea is not for us to just be on here and just talk and talk and talk. I want you to be able to learn from what we're discussing, go back and create your own blends, and maybe create your blend and have the particular set of crystals alongside of it, and have it charging your tea blend at the same time, right? So whenever you go to drink your tea, you not only have the medicinal benefits, you get the spiritual benefits as well as that crystal charge from
Right.
the
I like,
from your.
and let me add on to that. And then with the crystals, remember, if you're feeling you need love or passion, then you grab your crystal. This is something you can carry with you all the time. Crystals are energetic, they work anywhere you go. Crystals are all over the place. You can put it in your pocket. I have in my bra, I have on me all the time, because you should always have that energy with you. So based on, look at each ingredient at a different crystal that will do work magic for you. Together, they amplify the power. But separate alone, you can use each one. Are you using your crystals? I know you all have a
Absolutely.
lot of them. I'm looking at you. Use your crystals. They're there for healing, guys.
Mhm.
Seriously. take out that lepidolite and put it by you and keep it next to your tea. You know how good you're going to feel after you drink that? It's going to be amazing. Come
Yes.
back and tell us the difference. We'd like to know, how did you feel when you held your tea in your car and you made it, make it more of a ritual. And when you do that, you're going to experience it differently and you're going to come back and like, wow. And I want to know how many people light a pink candle for February. It's going to be
Mhm.
awesome.
Yes. And tea time should be like a ritual. Make it ceremonial. No, don't just go and drop your tea bag in, pour some hot water, and just sit and drink. Really, and that I made a post earlier and I talked about this. Just, be very intentional about the ingredients that you put together. When you're pouring your water, don't just sit there and just really focus your intention in the water that you're pouring in into the tea blend that you're putting, whether it's a tea bag or whatever, or is it a group of the loose herbs. Be very intentional about what you're doing. Make it sacred, make it ceremonial. Okay, really elevate your cup of tea to a whole other level. Rather,
Right,
you're not drinking tea. This is a sacred moment. This is a sacred event.
right.
Okay, make it a sacred event.
You make it
All right, so then
magical. Add it all.
right. All right, so elderberry is the next ingredient, and I kind of,
Elderberry.
hinted at it earlier. It like rose hips, it is loaded with vitamin C, and this actually, elderberry was in short supply last year, 2020 and 2021, due to what's going on in the world right now. Everybody was
I'm
suddenly, wanting to find elderberry because they became so aware of what elderberry can do for your immune system, right? So, it does help to boost your immune system, and it reduces, if you were to end up getting a cold or the flu and you started to drink elderberry, it actually reduces the length of time that you have that cold or flu, plus it reduces the intensity of the cold and the flu. All right, so elderberry is a really good one to have around all year long. My shelf is never empty of elderberry. It was hard to find, last year and the year before, but I have a supplier that, yes, so I can always find it because it's the one thing that I drink on a daily basis. So it also reduces swelling. So, whenever I would have any kind of inflammation, my lungs would swell up, they would hurt. The elderberry was in there for my immune system, in addition to reducing the swelling that was occurring in my lungs. So elderberries are very powerful. I mean, I'm not speaking a whole lot about it. Do your research on elderberry, please, because when you do your research on it, trust me, you're going to never go without elderberry. You're going to want to have it in your medicine cabinet, your in your bathroom cabinet. You're going to want to have it everywhere, and you can find it in so many forms: in gummy forms, in tinctures, in syrup form, and the syrup is so easy to make. And if you'd like to make the syrup, I have a very easy blend. I have a recipe online. I can easily just post it in here. So elderberry.
That's amazing. Thank you for that. And can I tell you, when I was looking at elderberry and I saw all the medicinal, I take elderberry every day as well. Since COVID, I made it, I added to my formula, and I'm an elder as well. So, do you know it's a throat chakra crystal? It's for helping you speak your thought. Who doesn't speak their truth? It helps to alleviate their throat chakra. Yeah, I see somebody waving their hand. It's a feminine energy. It's water air. See, that's that watery air, because water has to push it away and air has to blow it. All right. It is associated with Sagittarius, Aquarius, and Libra energy. All right. It is great. And I'm going to tell you, this one is great for astral travel. You want to go for a ride, guys? Make yourself a nice cup of hot elderberry tea at night when you're about to journey. And guess what? Woo! You're going to be flying. Your journeys are going to be a whole lot better and a lot vivid. You will see, feel, and sense. All right. That's what elderberry does. All right. Did you know also, back in the days, they used to use elderberry to remove curses? So, say you had a curse, you would come in and they would squish it and they would literally bathe you in elderberry. And as they bathed and rinsed you, they would rinse off, the elderberry would take off the curse on you. So this, we're talking back, way back in the days. Can you believe that? All right. So, and it's an emotional balance. It's intuition, protection. Also, it is it is the underworld work. And when I say underworld work, is when you want to get to the underworld and you want to work in with the underworld and the gods and goddesses of the underworld. Elderberry is the tea that gets you there. And see how powerful it is medicinally, but spiritually it has that same strength. And for me, this is ideolite. Iodolite is the perfect stone for time traveling. It is a third eye crystal and
Mhm.
it'll help you fly. And that's what elderberry does. It'll take you through a portal and help you fly to where you need to go, see, and feel. All right. And that's with your body in helping you heal and when you need to go and journey and see what you need to see. That is the tea for you, elderberry.
Yeah, this particular blend just popped into my head, so I had to write it down. But that's for a future episode. Yes. Um, yeah, elderberry is a very powerful um, herb. So make sure that you always keep that around. And it's, now that there's some things that MJ mentioned that I had no clue about with the elderberry, as far as it being an astral travel herb. I've never worked with it in that way, but now that really intrigues me because there's another herb that I work with in that manner, and I'm wondering,
Gotta combine them. I need
you
that herb. I'm on your flow now. I'm on your flow. We need to get those herbs. We could call it an astral travel blend. Woo!
yes. So that's interesting. All right, moving on. Yeah. All right, the next one, and this is one that I added in later. Thyme, Thyme. Thyme is a natural expectorant. It's not a tea that you're going to want to drink to me by itself. I mean, people drink thyme tea, but to me, it's just very herbal, very earthy, very medicinal tasting. So I like to add thyme to other ingredients rather than just trying to drink thyme by itself. It's a natural expectorant. So if you have a cough or cold or a congestion in your lungs, drink some thyme tea. It's going to get that out. It's going to, force you to cough and you're going to bring that stuff up. It's a natural antiseptic. It helps to fight respiratory infections if you have anything going on in your upper respiratory in your lungs. And it also helps to soothe coughs and nasal congestion. So if you're stuffy up here and you put in a little bit of, drink a little bit of thyme tea, you'll notice that up here tends to clear up and starts to run. And that's one of the reasons I'm sitting here. And I'm sorry if you hear me sniffing, I may have to run off because this particular tea, like I said, it was developed to help me when I developed emphysema years ago. So it clears everything from the lungs and the sinuses. So everything from here gets cleared all the way down, and then my lungs get really opened up. All right.
Amazing.
We had a couple comments. Good. Hi, Peter North here. An adult. Excuse me. Enjoy your stream. Yes. So thyme, like I said, it's something that I added in. I don't particularly care for the thyme tea by itself, but it is a very powerful antiseptic. So don't be afraid of working with thyme simply because it's medicinal. Um, Add it to something if you can't handle the thyme tea by itself. But thyme on its own is very powerful. I think that's everything. Soothes the coughs, nasal congestion. And back to you, MJ. I'm going to work on a couple comments over here in the meantime.
Okay, so for me, when I saw thyme, I was like, what is this? What is this? It's a female energy. It's Venus again. We're talking water energy here. All right. So when I went and I started investigating it, it talked about health and healing and and connecting with your psychic clairs and your gifts and purifying your soul and having courage. But the main one that got to me that everywhere I read, it dispels hopelessness. So this one herb dispels hopelessness. How amazing is that? So for me, when I thought thyme, I said ocean jasper. Ocean
That's
Jasper,
a
the
beautiful
time
piece
to
too.
be. Thank you. It is happiness stone. Ocean Jasper is a happiness stone. It dispels hopelessness, just like thyme. It releases all energy. It lifts your spirit up, and it makes you just want to, vibe in the happiness flow. And that's what Ocean Jasper is, and that's what thyme reminds me of.
Hmm. I have a note here from Cheryl. She says, "I love time tea. I am I'm learning to love. I love time in blends, but I'm really trying to get used to just drinking it by itself. So hats off to you, Cheryl. I'm working to get there. I'm working to get there. Um, yeah, I had to take care of a couple comments. You know, we do tend to get spammers from time to time, so some things had to be removed in the comment chat. All right, so the
Okay.
next ingredient is licorice root. And this happens, some people like it, some people don't. I happen to be one of those that I love licorice root. Licorice root has been used a lot in traditional Chinese medicine. It's also been used in ancient Greece and ancient Egypt to treat respiratory infections, any kind of respiratory issues, for from coughs, those type of things. So this is an herb that goes back hundreds and hundreds of years from the ancient Greece, ancient Egypt, and traditional Chinese medicine. So there, a lot of people don't really care for licorice root, I think, because of it does have a mild medicinal taste to it, but for me, it's almost this is where original licorice candy came from. All right, and I happen to love licorice, so I think that's why I love licorice root. But some people just don't. So if you're not a fan of licorice root, um, there's so many other ingredients in here that really do help with the lungs that if you really cannot stand licorice root, you can leave it out. But it's a very, very powerful root. This is um this is the root of the plant, not the seed or the leaves or anything. It's a natural expectorant, but it also has what's mu. I never get this word right, but it's very soothing because there's an ingredient in there that if you have irritation in your passages, the breathing passages, there's an ingredient in licorice root that helps to soothe it, lines it, and helps to reduce that irritation. So the licorice root is really good for that. And that's the information that I have on licorice root right now. But a lot of people don't really care for it, but it's one that I really wish if you don't like it, try it again, try it mixed in with other ingredients, um, and see how you like it then. Because I know licorice root tea on by itself does have a medicinal flavor, um, and it does take a little bit of getting used to, you know. So that's licorice root.
Okay. Okay, for me, licorice root was kind of weird when I kept looking because I couldn't find it more in the spiritual community. I found it more in the hoodoo community that uses the hoodoo root. So me, it was connected to the planet Mercury. It's more a male, masculine energy. That is good for binding. Get you out of my life. I don't want you in my life. You bind people with licorice root. Also, it heightens the spell mark. And this is we're talking about releasing. This is conjuring magic. This is a root that if you want mind altering control over somebody, you're gonna put this on a candle and I got control over you, baby. I got control over you, baby. And that's what this licorice root.
Interesting.
We're talking hoodoo root. This is some licorice root is alleged to grant the bearer control over the person or the situation. So you get someone and you grind it up and you put it over and you want to take control of a situation or a person, licorice root was the way to go. Right? But be careful how you work your magic, guys. If it's not for testing, not sake. And remember, whatever you throw comes back. No matter how it ends, whatever you
Exactly.
throw comes back. So be careful what you throw in. All right. Know your business. If you know your magic, you know what to do. If you don't know your magic, don't be throwing what you don't know. And licorice root is one of those. It's not a herb you should be messing with medicinally, magically, unless you really know what you're doing. Yeah. All right.
Right.
This root, the licorice root. all right, was buried in the tombs with the Egyptians to help them pass through to the afterlife. They used it and they put it in the corridors and they in their tombs and down the corridors. So when the spirit would come and rise, it would follow the smell to the afterlife.
Mm,
That's how strong and powerful this root is.
yeah.
But it's more used in a sense of it's used for some heavy magic, and it's all in an all sense of the way. And health wise, it's got all the medicinal benefits, but it's a root that's used for some good stuff. Mhm.
Very interesting. I'm telling you guys,
Now,
I'm learning so much. Cheryl's
okay.
saying, I need this tea. I'm still fighting the C word that we don't want to mention. Not that
No, no, no.
word, the one with the that type of thing.
Yeah, no C word is one. We want to mention no C word.
Yes,
It's
no C words.
it's we will
But
not.
but Cheryl,
Thou shall
yes, this
not be
would be a
named.
very powerful one for you. I will list the ingredients and you can kind of put together the ones that you want to work with because I know that not everybody is going to like every ingredient that I put in here. Right.
Right. Now for the licorice root, I had I have a combo. I have copper and black tourmaline.
Mm.
It's a power, you know why? Because this is the ultimate protection. You want to control somebody, you want to activate it, and you want to put it from end to end. So wherever they go around the world, I got you. So I'm going to amplify you from line to line, and then I'm calling in the guides, and I'm taking you, and I'm controlling you. You are now mine. Yay!
Very interesting. I'm
But
gonna
not
have
in
to
a
go on and
sense.
do some research myself. Huh.
She's like, wow, MJ.
I'm telling you, this is like the most interesting episode so far. And this is what our third. I'm learning so much, so much. All right, so another ingredient in here is fennel, which we spoke about last week. So I'm not going to go over that in great detail, except to say fennel, you can do an infusion of fennel tea. It helps to loosen the mucus in your lungs. And then, of course, once it's loosened, then you have things like thyme that is going to help you to expel it. Right. So you want to have, this is why there's a combination of all of these different herbs in here. One helps to loosen it, which is what the fennel will do. And then once you have that loosened in your chest, the thyme will kind of help you to kind of start to cough it up and break it up and get rid of it out of your system. All right. So fennel we discussed last week, so I won't go into a great amount of detail with that one. And I think that is the last ingredient. This other one, I want to mention an addition. But actually, did you want to add the crystal for fennel, or we can just send them to the video for last week?
Yeah, they could. I mean, it was pyrite for last week. I have it here.
Yes.
It was pyrite, so you can go back to it. But I just wanted to say, when we look at all the ingredients together, let's look at that. We're looking petrified wood, pyrite, black tourmaline, shungite, lepidolite. All right.
Mhm.
What are we doing here, guys? What are we doing here? Lapis, royal. You know what?
Mhm.
Ocean Jasper. We're putting a whole bunch of protection. We're adding that protection. Lapis is very purifying and royal. And then we're adding the happiness stone on top because it's all about balancing. It's that yin and yang energy, the darkness with the light, the happiness with the sadness. And that's what we're doing here.
So I wanted to give you a few bonuses that you can add into this particular blend. So one of them is called elecampane. And elecampane is a very, very powerful herb, but I personally don't work with it because it is that powerful. And there's a lot of caveats when you're working with this, which is why I don't usually recommend it. But do your research on it and determine for yourself if you want to add it into your blend. However, I will say this. If you are allergic to anything in what we call the aster family, the flowers, things like chrysanthemums and daisies, if you're allergic to any of those flowers, you're going to be allergic to elecampane because it's in the same family. And this is one of the reasons why I don't mention elecampane because there's so many, if you're allergic to this, you're going to be allergic to this, right? If you have anything like seizures, um, you don't want to be working with elecampane. It makes you very sleepy, so you have to be very careful when you're working with elecampane. It's a very powerful herb, but there's so many caveats with it that, I don't recommend it often. If you're breastfeeding, don't work with elecampane. If you have diabetes, you don't want to work with elecampane because, again, it's a double whammy because elecampane will help to reduce your sugar too low. And if you're taking diabetic medication along with it, then it can cause some issues. But do your research on elecampane. If you don't have any of those, particular caveats, do some research on elecampane. It's spelled Elecampane. Powerful herb for the lungs and so much more. But just know what you're working with, know the side effects, and go from there, because it is a very, very powerful expectorant. Um, Other ingredients that you can add to this are things like tulsi, which is holy basil, ginger, we've spoken about before. It's an anti-inflammatory. Eucalyptus leaf, but do your research on that one as well. Eucalyptus, as in the oil form, is very good for breathing. Um, and I'm going to talk about the essential oil version of that. Last week we talked about cardamom. You can also add cardamom into this particular blend. All right, so MJ, I know this part here is kind of, a bonus. I'm going to throw out a few oils that you can work with to create an essential oil version of the tea, because I love to do that kind of stuff as well. So what would be the first herb we talked about was what? Sage, right? And you showed the sage spray. So
Mm-hmm.
that's one way. She has a sage spray. She just sprays it around her room. But you
And I
can
make
use
this myself. Make it yourself, guys. Don't, you know what? It's so easy to make. Please start realizing you can make these ingredients yourself. It's so simple and you can have it for long periods of time.
um Cheryl is asking, is sassafras the same or similar to licorice root? No, that is a different root altogether, Cheryl. Sassafras is different. And let me see if there are any other questions. Jamie's saying, LOL, what? And I think that's because you probably read that comment by the person that I excused or released.
Oh, there was a comment. I missed it. Oh, okay. Okay. Hey, Jamie, what's up, mommy? I saw your post. Like, I owe you a text back. I got you right after this. I'm going to be hooked. It's been a crazy day, but I got you. I love you.
Yes. All right. So the other ingredient would be, or on the oil version, would be a hyssop infusion. So I just basically take the hyssop herb and I soak it into olive oil. I just let it sit on a warm windowsill so that it infuses over about 3 to 4 weeks, and then I use that infusion as the carrier oil for this particular blend. Right. So you have sage essential oil, the hyssop infusion. There's thyme essential oil, fennel essential oil, ginger essential oil that you can add in here, peppermint, eucalyptus essential oil. So these are, you can also add in things like rosemary. Rosemary is, you can add rosemary into this particular blend, but rosemary is a different flavor. And if you use too much of rosemary, it throws off the blend. So you really have to know how to work with rosemary. The same thing with the essential oil. You can add the essential oil into this blend, but if you add too much, it just completely, it can overpower your particular essential oil blend as well as a tea. Oregano is very powerful, especially when combined with thyme. So that's another oil that you can put into this blend. Are there any others that you can recommend for the essential oil version, MJ?
Well, at the moment, no, not at the moment, but I'll think about it. If not, I'll add it to the comments. And I was going to tell you, this would be great to add the ingredients to the comments if anybody was not taking notes and wanted to put it down that way. And when you add it to the comments, I'll see if there's anything else I'll add to that, and then we'll go with that. But that's for right now. I think you got it. You nailed it.
Yes, so that's what I'm going to do. I will add the list of the ingredients in the comment section so that you guys don't have to, scramble trying to listen to the video
Yeah.
again. So I'll add the list there, and you guys can go ahead and try to make your the tea version, and then I'll also put the essential oil blend, that if you want to try that, because it's when you taking the teas internally is one thing, and then you can work with the essential oil blend to massage on the outside. So you're massaging and you're getting that. You can breathe that in as well, and then you're also taking in the tea. So you're taking in the medicine both ways. All right.
So can I just add to that? When you're doing that, can I that you can add, you have meridian points in your body. Okay, so when you have it, and I'm gonna say, I'm just gonna pull any. I have tea, I have oils all over. I'm just pulling one right now. So you
Mm-hmm.
have oil. All right, every day. This would be without question. You want to activate your meridian points in your body, starting what I know,
Mm-hmm.
where I go,
Mm-hmm.
what I see, and who I love. Always. It activates your line and you can use it and you breathing it in. And remember, you're smelling it in. You're going to inhale all that goodness, but you've also activated your meridian points on your body with it. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like your chakras are like, thank you guys. That was just amazing. I appreciate you thinking about me. So think about that.
Yeah.
Activate your points on your body because you're activating your energy field when you do it. And smell the oils, just like the tea,
Yeah.
does that for you.
Lori says, love this. Cheryl says, I need to make some. Yes, I'm going to put the ingredients so that you guys can try it. And I'd love to hear if you do. But I'm going to add something to what MJ said about all of the points. I like to add it in my belly button, just above, just below as well. And yeah, but you guys can come up. Those are your main points. You can also add uh, one of the things you learn about me, but I tell you now, I I was diagnosed with hearing loss about 5 or 6 years ago because of severe tinnitus. And one of the things I did was I came up with different oils. So one of the things I do is I have certain points around my ears where I work with different oils as well. So not only do I do what I for what I know, for what I do, and for where I go, in addition to the belly button, but I also do around my ears, which
Beautiful.
helps with the hearing and also to kind of alleviate some of the tinnitus. But that's for a whole other discussion.
Just
Yeah.
be careful when you're doing the smells around your ears because have very bad sinus issues. And if you put a smell, you're going to activate your sinuses and then you're going to be suffering the whole day with that smell. So
Yeah.
please use caution when using these smells because some of them won't go with your, remember, you're right here in this area and
Hmm.
you'll smell it. And then all of a sudden you'll get a
Yeah.
flare up of your sinuses. So just be careful when using, test it out first. Make sure you
Yeah.
can. And then once it goes, then go for it.
Yeah. And Jackie says so many great information. What oil do you use around the ears? We'll go into that in another discussion. How's that?
Right.
Yes. All right, because we always say we're going to keep this to an hour, and it really happens.
we try. We're like 45 minutes, 45 minutes, 45 minutes. Yeah. So sorry, guys. I appreciate you hanging
But
out with us, though.
we love doing this. So let's end with this. If you're not a friend of my channel, please go ahead and like the particular video, share it with all of your friends, all your social media, subscribe so that you can get all of our notifications. There, you can also become a member of my channel. There's a join button, and there are different levels where you can join. You get certain perks at different levels, and there's lots of coaching, private coaching that goes on based on the level that you purchase. So, and that's one of the things I'm also going to be talking to MJ about with private coaching based on the levels that are available within the YouTube channel. So there's a little join button. It should be right below the video. Just click on that, and then it will give you the information of all of the different levels that you can at which you can join this particular channel. All right. So until next week. We are going to bid you adieu. But listen, we want to hear if you've tried any of these, whether it's from today or last week or the week before. We love to hear your feedback. And so far, we've heard nothing but good stuff, which is going to motivate us to do more of this, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
MJ, it's been a pleasure, always a
Thank
pleasure.
you, guys. Always. And guys, remember the magic's in the tea.
The magic
Right.
is in the tea.
Thank you,
Great.
guys. I love you. See ya. Bye, guys.
Bye,
Take
guys.
care.